G'day. I hate begging for money, but we've got to ask. We're planning for 2026 and we don't have enough money to keep going with the other side in the form that we've been going in 2025. We need a signal from you that you want the show to continue so that we can plan properly for what we will be able to do in 2026. Please go to othersidetv.com.au and join up to the exclusive side for less than $5 a month. And let us know that you want us to continue. Or if you want to just do it here on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, click the join button next to the subscribe button below, the join button, and that will enable you to support us also for a few dollars every month, just around the price of a cup of coffee. And it sends a signal that we should continue into 2026 and lets us know what we need to do to plan for next year. Thanks a lot for your support. I hope we're back in 2026. Both New South Wales and Victoria have got new state opposition leaders this week as the Liberal Party continues to be so organised and well run and structured and aligned and close together and committed. Anyway, New South Wales Liberal Party has elected Callie Sloan on Friday morning after turfing Mark Speakman on Thursday. It's now an all-female leadership lineup in New South Wales with Natalie Ward remaining the deputy leader. Sloan is a former TV show host and journalist. She presented the Today Show for a bit on Channel 9, and she hosted the late news bulletin Nightline. She's only been in Parliament for 3 years. Between politics, that's no problem with that. We need fewer politicians, career politicians in Parliament. Between politics and television, in between, she was the CEO of a charity. So she's at least got some business management experience, even though it was a non-commercial or competitive venture. She's an inner-city Liberal, the member for the affluent electorate of Vaucluse in Sydney. Sloan is a political moderate, not a conservative, and Speakman, who she ousted, was also of the moderate faction of the Liberal Party. Meanwhile, in Melbourne, the Liberals turfed a Conservative, Brad Batten, for its third state leader this year. The new leader of the Victorian Liberal Party's parliamentary wing, the opposition down there, is 35 years old. Yep, all that life experience and wisdom ready to be shared with us all. I'm sorry, but I don't think anyone under 40 should be leading any government or political party anywhere in the world. I make no apology for thinking that. You need more life experience. It doesn't matter how whip-smart you are or how articulate you are. A little bit of longevity does matter. Anyway, this particular 35-year-old is whip-smart and highly articulate. Her name is Jess Wilson. She's the first woman to lead the Victorian Liberals, and were she to perform a miracle and actually win government in the country's most left-wing state, actually, she has a chance because the Labor government is just so awful now that even the lefties in Victoria can see it. Wilson would become the third female Premier of Victoria, but she would be the first to be elected rather than having the job passed on to her by a departing colleague. Now, she's the MP for the upmarket inner suburban Melbourne electorate of Kew, and she was elected also just in a few years ago, 2022. She says her priorities include budget repair, tackling crime, improving healthcare access, and making housing more affordable. She's ousted, as I said, the Conservative former policeman Brad Batten from the top job just weeks before his 50th birthday. Happy birthday, Brad. He'd only had the job since last December following the demise of the previous leader, John Pizzuto. He took over following the demise of the previous leader, Matthew Guy, who lost the 2022 election. Are you following? If you're not from Victoria, you will recall John Pizzuto's downfall. That followed party conflicts over the banning of Moira Deeming from the Liberal Party room that made national headlines, and then he lost the defamation case on that drama. Mental note to new leaders, try not to shoot self in foot. Yes. His successor, Brad Batten, the Conservative, had a rocky year this year, and on Monday, a cross-factional delegation of Liberal MPs told Batten he'd lost the support of the party room and that Wilson would nominate for the leadership of the party in a spill the following morning. What's weird about all this is that just one day earlier, a poll had shown that the Liberal Party was in an election-winning position, and another recent poll had shown the same. But both polls only had Batten on 51 to 49 against Labor. Not a big enough lead, it seems. Anyway, Conservatives, aren't the flavour of the month in the Liberal Party, especially in Victoria. And so it was bye-bye Brad and hello Jess on Tuesday. All right, so just how moderate and wet, as they call it, is she? Well, she was reportedly the only Victorian Liberal MP to publicly support the Indigenous Voice to Parliament referendum yes vote. So that's not a good sign if you're a Conservative. But she doesn't seem too ideologically rigid. Her priorities as leader emphasise economic discipline, so that's good, especially around the hideous $200 billion state debt of Victoria. Housing affordability, she's up onto that, which is very important. Healthcare access and crime. Okay, that's a mix of classical liberal economics concerns and more centrist social policy. Her career background is on the economic side of things, so that's good. She worked for the Big Four accounting and consulting firm KPMG, and she also worked in public policy for the Business Council of Australia. And before becoming the leader, she was promoted to be the shadow treasurer, reflecting her growing role in economic policy. So she's been seen as a good economic thinker for quite some time. Her election as leader was not purely a moderate takeover. She was able to secure significant backing from Conservatives also. And according to reporting, she was elected unopposed after that spill. So check out this from her Tuesday night performance on Sky News' Peter Credlin show.
We cannot afford to lose the next election. We have to do it for Victorians. Victoria is at a crossroads, and I believe I can lead our team to the next election and ensure we get a Liberal government elected and we change course.
How is he going to lose the next election, though? Because he's the first leader you've had in almost a decade who was ahead in the polls. So if he's ahead in the polls and you're his shadow treasurer, that's a terrific team. Why change the team?
Well, what we know is we need to win 16 seats the next election. It's no easy task. The job ahead of us is mammoth. And we know that the Labor machine is already working. But polls come and go, but to be ahead 51, 52 in the polls isn't going to deliver us the result to win the next election. We need to be well ahead in the polls. We need to see our primary vote get into the 40s, get up into the 40s to be able to actually deliver government at the next election. And I believe with the team behind me, we can do that at the next election.
Not short of confidence for a 35-year-old, that's for sure. But she is young. So why oust Brad Batten? Polls had the coalition at 51 to 49 on a two-party preferred basis, and Batten himself was well ahead of Jacinta Allen as preferred premier in the polls at 45 to 34. That was a good lead. Her elevation likely marks a strategic shift. Under Wilson, the Liberals are aiming to present a more centrist, responsible alternative to the Labor government. Her focus on debt, housing and health is very much about competence rather than cultural warfare. This could be an attempt to win back professional, urban and suburban voters who've drifted away, particularly in the affluent Melbourne areas like her own seat of Kew. And by choosing a moderate, the party may be trying to heal internal factional divisions. She'll get and keep the support of the Conservatives if she remains as tough on Victoria's soaring crime problem as Brad Batten was, and if she focuses on fiscal responsibility, getting government spending down and lowering the insane debt levels. It does sound like she's getting that message.
Debt in this state is soaring towards $200 billion, and the opportunity cost of that means that we won't be able to fund essential services. I'm 35 years old. I'm a millennial. I know that my generation and generations before younger than me have given up on trying to buy their own home. And it's the punishing property taxes in this state that is making housing unaffordable. These are the issues we need to take to the next election. I believe I can do that. I can take that broad agenda and really sell an economic narrative and a broad narrative about why the Liberal Party will be a credible economic alternative for Victoria.
A message of fiscal responsibility plus social compassion may resonate with many centrist Victorian voters, but she might struggle to differentiate the Liberals enough from Labor. If the Liberals become too centrist, voters might not see a reason to change, so she needs to watch she doesn't slide too left on social policy. Uni-party stuff won't work. And the support for the voice, rejected even in left-wing Victoria, does hang over her head. But when it comes to the fat cat bureaucrats and the massively ballooning size of government in this country that is, let's be blunt, destroying us, Victoria is the front runner. Out of every 10 new jobs created in our country, and particularly in Victoria, 9 are in government. Only 1 comes from the public sector. It's obscene. And it's where Labor and the unions and a bureaucratic leadership out of control and drunk on public money have taken that state. Jess Wilson gets that.
1 out of every 10 jobs in Victoria, are now being created by the private sector. The rest, by the government. Now, that is not sustainable in any way, shape or form. But where my concern really lies is not only the fact that the wage bill has doubled since Labor came to office 10 years ago, but it's that executive level. It's the growth of that executive level that we are seeing go so quickly. And that's where I think there is opportunity to ensure we're actually directing government funding to frontline services. We have vacancies when it comes to Victoria Police during a crime crisis, 2,000 vacancies for Victoria Police. So on the one hand, we're seeing the growth in the executive level on major infrastructure projects like the SRL, but we can't see enough cops on the beat in a crime crisis.
That's the new Victorian State Liberal Party opposition leader, Jess Wilson, speaking to Peter Credlin on Sky News. I'll tell you what, if she keeps hammering that message, people will be saying yes to Jess at the 2026 election. But will people forget that when it came to The Voice, she supported yes?
A lot of my viewers are watching you tonight and they remember you as someone who supported The Voice, one of the few Liberals who supported The Voice. Even in Victoria, The Voice was defeated. Have you changed your mind there?
Well, I've been very clear about the treaty, that I oppose the treaty, and I spoke about it at length in the Parliament.
Would you repeal it?
Yes, we will repeal it.
Including anything that looks and sounds and smells like The Voice in Victoria?
Yeah, I think that what I saw when I looked at the treaty in detail is something that was very vastly different to The Voice. In many ways, The Voice was a concept, whereas we know what the treaty actually is about. And it is vastly different in scope and in scale. And Victorians voted no to The Voice, and I respect that. And that's the difference between me and Jacinta Allen, is I understand that Victorians have had a say on this, and they don't want to see the creation of a body that potentially creates a second parallel system of governance in this state that has the potential to slow down legislation. Of course, we need to ensure that we are working with Indigenous Victorians, but I'll be firmly focused on how do we close the gap, how do we deliver outcomes, and how do we do that in a transparent way.
Whip smart, highly articulate and very impressive, but I'm afraid too young, I think. Jess Wilson, the new leader of the Victorian Liberals, appearing on Sky News Australia's Credlin show this week. Did you know that with a virtual private network or VPN on your computer, tablet or phone, you can log into your favourite streaming services like Netflix from home with an internet address from anywhere in the world and watch all the shows that they offer in other countries, including stuff in different languages? And using a VPN to route all your internet traffic through a third-party server means that big corporations and big government can't spy on you. If you sign up now with private internet access, we think they're the best VPN servers out there, as a viewer of The Other Side, you can get 83% off the price of your subscription and get online for less than $3 a month. Check it out right now. Go to piavpn.com/otherside. That's piavpn.com/otherside. It's a great service, a rock bottom price, and supporting our sponsor, you are helping to keep The Other Side going and growing. That was a segment clip from our weekly Friday night news show, The Other Side, which you can watch in full by simply going to YouTube and searching up The Other Side Australia. Then you'll find our full shows playlist. You can also find all of our full shows and our segments on our own website, othersidetv.com.au. That's othersidetv.com.au. Help us build a whole new Aussie media by joining us over there and signing up for the exclusive side.